thanks so much for joining me today. We're going to be making some cards with our spring snow globe scene stamps and dies, along with our empty snow globe stamp and dies. I've got all the parts and pieces cut out for our cards. And the first little stamp we're going to be using from this set is this adorable little bear, and he is flying a kite. For our first card, I have two of our pre-cut, pre-scored A2 size side folding cards. These are 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 when folded. Out of the front of one of them, I have used our empty snow globe die, and I've used the inner die for the snow globe, and I've cut out from the front panel there. I'm going to glue these two card bases together at the back so that they create like a tri-fold card. I'm using our Easy Squeeze craft glue, and just a little tip, I have one of our no clog glue pins. I have it glued into the cap of the glue there. I always know where my pin is, and it keeps my glue bottle from getting clogged. I like to put them together and then stand them on the desk, close it up, and make sure they're nice and tight and they're aligned properly. And now we have our tri-fold card. For the inside, the secondary flap that opens, I've cut out some pattern paper with our Mod Stitched rectangle dies to cover that panel. I'm going to glue that down. So now you can see that pattern through the little open window there. But what I want to see through there is our little bear. So I've cut out a piece of different pattern paper with that inner die from the empty snow globe dies. And we're going to glue that down. I'm just going to line it up where it needs to be glued. And we're going to glue it down with the card closed so that it fits perfectly within that window. The pattern papers I'm using for this card are from our Sunshine and Smiles 6x6 paper pack. The colors are super fun, bright, and cheerful, and they're perfect for spring and summer card projects. So now when I open the card, I know that this piece is exactly where it needs to be seen through that opening. And now we can glue the bear down on top of that piece. So now we have our little bear inside the window. Now what I had planned to do on the front of the card here is we're going to create a little shaker window, actually. So we'll put some chunky glitter in there that'll kind of shake around a little bit. So again, with our Mod Stitched rectangle die, I cut out a white piece of cardstock that I had stamped the empty snow globe image on. And then I cut out that inner piece with the inner die from that stamp set. And I lined everything up with the card front so that the opening is the same on all my layers. So I wanted a fun background to go around the snow globe. So I cut a pattern paper with that same Mod Stitched rectangle shape. Again, lining it up and cutting the snow globe out of the center of that. So you just see the snow globe on the white cardstock. I did cut out of our layered rectangle dies a yellow piece of cardstock, and I only cut that inner die out because this actually goes underneath. It's going to layer right on the card base like that. That way you have a little bit more color behind the pattern paper. And again, when you're die cutting this, you just line all these up and run them through. So the front of the card is going to look like this. But in between these layers, I want to put some acetate, and we're going to create a little pocket with the acetate. So I have cut 2 pieces of acetate or transparency sheets, or you could use some of your packaging from your stamps or dies. I've cut it just large enough that it covers the entire snow globe opening. So I'm going to glue this transparency or acetate sheet to the back of my pattern paper. Now, in order to create a little pocket, I'm going to add another acetate sheet to the back of the white cardstock. So there'll be another little window here, and it'll all come together, you'll see. The acetate is a non-porous surface, so you need very thin line of glue because it kind of smushes as you put them together. So now, as you can see, we have an acetate sheet on this piece and one on this, so nothing falls through the holes that we created when we die cut the paper. We're going to glue these two together, but we're going to put some super chunky glitter in the middle there. This is just a bottle of super chunky glitter they got at a craft store. And I'm just going to add some on top of that window. I'm going to spread it around just a little bit. And now I'm going to glue this panel on top of that one. I made sure to put glue completely around the opening so that there's nowhere for the glitter to shake out of the card. And I'm just pressing it down everywhere and letting it dry. So now here we have a shaker window that when we shake it, that glitter will move around. So fun, but it doesn't create a lot of bulk. You're not using the foam tape and making something thicker. We've got a fairly thin shaker card that will be nice and easy to mail through the regular mail. With the empty snow globe die, I did cut out the bottom of the snow globe in a green cardstock. I'm just going to glue that over the front. And I stamped and cut out the sentiment from the stamp set that says "Spring is in the air." And I'm just going to add that right to the bottom of the snow globe. Now I can glue our little shaker panel to the yellow cardstock and then glue that down to the card base. See, now it's open in the back there. Open here, all the holes line up because I lined them up before I did my die cutting. Now, how fun is this little shaker card? You can see the bear through the snow globe with all that iridescent glitter, which is pretty translucent, so you can kind of see through it, but you also see the shine. You can shake it a little and it'll move around in that window, but it's still nice and thin and will go in a regular envelope nicely. We can open it up. It still looks pretty on the inside. You just see this window with this iridescent glitter. You've got the little bear here, and he's running with his kite. And you have plenty of space on the inside for your note or your message for the recipient. That is a super fun way to make a shaker card. For our next card, I've got another one of our pre-cut, pre-scored card bases, this A2 side folding card. This time we're using the adorable birds in the bird bath from the stamp set. And the sentiment, "Happy Bird Day." I'm not going to be making a shaker card with the snow globe this time. This time I have stamped and die cut the empty snow globe, and I just did a little ink blending around it. So we're going to give the look of the snow globe without adding any kind of shaker elements or acetate or anything. So I'm going to glue the birds down to the snow globe. I die cut the bottom of the snow globe in a green color that we're just going to add. There, now we have our snow globe element. Let's assemble the rest of the card. I've cut some layering pieces, the green cardstock, a light blue, and then a pattern paper with these florals. The pattern paper I'm using for this card is from our Home Sweet Home paper pack. And I love these blues, greens, teals, and yellow together. It's very fresh and fun, and you can definitely use them anytime throughout the year. When you're using pattern paper, Remember to layer. It's always nice if you have a piece of pattern paper and you're going to put it on a cardstock, stick another layer in between. It gives it a beautiful, extra finished look. So now I've got these pieces together. We're going to glue it to the card front. I'm going to turn this card this way so it actually becomes a top folding card. It's more of a horizontal. I've got a yellow piece of cardstock strip and this plaid. We're going to layer that onto the card. Another tip when using pattern papers is to use opposite patterns together. So this floral looks really nice with this plaid. You could also use a stripe pattern, or when you're using polka dots, use stripe with it, or a plaid with polka dots. It's always best to use like different patterns together. You wouldn't want to use a floral and then put another floral here on top. They just kind of compete with each other, whereas this just complements each other better. So I'm just going to glue our snow globe off to the side. You could also add foam adhesive to the back of this and just pop it off the card a little bit. That would look really nice as well. And then I'm going to add our sentiment. And nothing finishes off a card better than some embellishments. And these are our gold glossy dots. And I thought they would look really nice with the blues and greens and yellow in this papers. And here's our second finished card. So cute. I've got another pre-cut, pre-scored card base, A2 side folding for this card. And we're using papers from our Be Kind paper pack. It's got beautiful corals, teals, lime green, and yellow. Really pretty together. And we're going to make another shaker card. And this time we're using from the stamp set the flowers with the little bees. For the card base, I've cut out with our scallop rectangle dies. This is pretty coral cardstock. And then I've cut a layer to go on top of it, this grid or plaid paper. And then I've got a piece of this honeycomb. It's just about 1.5 inches wide here at the bottom. I've cut out some teal ribbon that I want to put across the bottom here to give a nice little border or break in the two pattern papers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue it around the back so that it's opened up on the front. So I'm just going to glue the two ends around the back. And I just have to hold these ends back here just a few seconds to let that glue dry. So now here I have our front piece and I'm going to glue it to the scalloped rectangle. And now we can glue the whole piece down to the card base. So here again with the pattern papers, I have two complementing patterns, you could say, rather than competing. I have a plaid or a grid up top, a little honeycomb or hexagon pattern at the bottom. I've got a nice ribbon across the middle of them that give a little bit of separation and a nice finished look. While I let this glue dry on our card base, because I want that ribbon to be nice and secure when we tie our little knot to it, let's assemble our snow globe. We're going to make another shaker card. It's a fun thing to do with the snow globe, but as you saw in the last card, you don't always have to do that. You can use it by itself. So I have stamped and die cut 2 of the empty snow globe pieces. One I'm going to leave just stamped and die cut around the edge. The second one I cut around the edge, but I also used the inner die and cut out that window on the inside of the snow globe. I've already glued my acetate to the back of the piece, and I also have added thin foam tape all the way around the frame of the snow globe. That way my little sequins or my glitter or whatever you put in the shaker part here will not fly out. So I want to glue our little flowers and bee inside the snow globe. I've got 2 extra little bees stamped colored and die cut here. And I'm going to put one on the inside, but I'm going to save one of them to put on the outside of the snow globe. So now we have the inside of our snow globe done. I can add our super chunky glitter. You can add as much or as little as you like. Just keep in mind, you still want it to shake around and you want to be able to see the little bees and flowers behind it. And I'm just going to remove the release paper from my foam tape so that I can adhere the top piece of the snow globe to the bottom. I'm going to press down around the entire edge so I get a nice seal. Nothing will shake out of there. I've cut the bottom or base of the snow globe out of the coral cardstock that I used on the card base, and I'm going to glue that down. So now we have an adorable little snow globe shaker piece. This is really cute, and it's fun to shake. I'm going to add my little extra bee to the outside of the snow globe. There, he looks really cute up there at the top. I think I want my sentiment down here at the bottom. It says, just because. As I mentioned before, I want to put a knot on the ribbon. So the reason we left the ribbon open on the front of the card is so that we can slide another piece of ribbon underneath it and tie a little knot. So I'm going to put my snow globe about where I want it and decide where I want that knot right next to it. I'm going to put a little adhesive on the top of the ribbon so that my knot will stay in place right there. Just tie one simple knot, just once. Tighten it up a bit. And then just press down in the center, pressing it into that adhesive. And now I just have to trim the ends of the ribbons a little bit. Now I have a cute little knot on that ribbon. I love to add ribbon and a little knot to my cards. I think it adds just the right amount of dimension and extra texture to the card. So now we can glue down our snow globe shaker piece. And here's our finished shaker card. Isn't that sweet? And look at all that chunky glitter shaking around in there. I love the little bees. Super cute. For our last card, we're going to make another A2 size card. But we're not going to use the snow globe this time. Even though these are called spring snow globe scenes, you don't have to use the snow globe. You can use them just by themselves and create some really sweet cards. So we're going to be using the bunny in the little Easter basket. And I've got some layering pieces. I have some craft cardstock cut out with this gorgeous plaid. Look at that. Oh my gosh, I love plaid. This is from our year-round plaid paper pack. So I'm going to glue that to the craft cardstock piece. I've got a piece of white cardstock along with a nice blue polka dot, and this is from our year-round dots and stripes paper pack, which coordinates perfectly with the year-round plaids. So I'm going to glue these together and then glue them to the other layering pieces. I want to add some more ribbon to this card before we glue these layering pieces to the front of the card base. So I've got this little highlight spot cut out of craft cardstock, and this is where our cute little bunny in its basket is going to sit. I've cut it from our zigzag circle dies, and then I took my paper trimmer and I cut a little bit off one side of it. I'm going to glue that down on the polka dot paper. Now we can add our pink ribbon across the bottom of that zigzag circle. See how that's nicely going to just border that there and finish it off. So I'm just going to do again, I'm going to put a little glue on the ends of the back of the ribbon and then wrap it around the layering pieces of paper. And now I can glue this down to the card front. Now I'm just seeing where I want to place the bunny rabbit. And I've got the sentiment Happy Easter. Before I glue those down, I'm going to tie a knot in the ribbon. So I've got another piece cut here. I'm going to add a little adhesive where I want that knot to sit and stay. I'm going to just tie a simple knot, press it down in the center. It'll sit in that glue, and I'm going to trim the ends of the ribbon. And there we have our cute little knot. I'm going to add the sentiment. And on the back of our adorable little bunny here, I've added some foam adhesive just so he pops off the card a little bit. And there we have our finished card. Thanks again for joining me today. I hope you've enjoyed these cards we've created with our spring snow globe and our empty snow globe stamps and dies. We've seen how we can create adorable little snow globes with these spring scenes, or we can use them without the snow globe and create just adorable cards. You can find these products and more at pinkandmane.com or ask your local retailer. Until next time, my friends, keep living the creative life.